What are some things you cannot say to the judge? What are some things you cannot write in a personal narrative to the court? What are some things you can't say to a case manager? We're going to talk about those things and some other of my normal ramblings and inability to stop talking in this video today. Welcome everyone, I am Justin Paperny with Prison Professors and White Collar Advice, and I want to jump right in with a video that talks about some things you can and cannot do. And this experience, or this video, comes from someone who invested in our Preparing for Sentencing program. If anyone has watched any of my YouTube videos, I do not use YouTube to sell or to promote our products. Go through my videos and watch them. I'm here to advise and teach. I am simply sharing our course and discussing it because it relates to you. So for some background, we're big proponents of articulating through your own efforts as a defendant why you're worthy of mercy. So you probably should watch the video with Judge Boo, who was interviewed by Michael Santos. And in that video, Judge Boo said a lot of things, including 2% of what influences him at sentencing comes from lawyers. I'm not bashing lawyers, not knocking lawyers. If you have a great lawyer, terrific. I had a great lawyer. What he was conveying in that video was lawyers are hired guns. They're paid mouthpieces. They're paid to articulate things on your behalf. They're paid to extol your virtues at sentencing, irrespective of what you did. It's what they're paid to do, and I hope you have a great one. What our course and what we try to do is focus on that 98%, how you can mitigate through your own actions. And one way that we believe that you can do it is through creating a compelling personal narrative. And many of our clients have worked directly with us where we will interview and help write their narrative. Some that may not have the budget and who like to write and who find it cathartic to purge and share their story will invest in our Preparing for Sentencing program. And that program includes some templates or letters that have actually been turned into judges all across the country. And our clients whose letters are in this program really embrace the pay it forward mantra. They said, we'd love for you to share these letters, just remove our name and the judge's name, etc. But it's the actual letter. So we've had a number of clients, defendants who have actually invested in this program. They invest, they get access, and boom, they can begin to modify and build their life story around our proven templates. Opening, background, remorse, lessons learned, a really simple to follow process. So we had one gentleman, an executive in Texas, who invested in the program, immediately took action. I texted him, I said, dude, I'm so impressed by your efforts. A lot of people talk about preparing, you actually did it. And he wrote this really compelling and really honest narrative. And I agree, or throw in, to anyone who invests in the course, I say, I'll give you an hour of my time to review it. I want to look at it. I want to discuss it with you. I want to make sure there's nothing in there that could negatively impact you. So the narrative came back to me and I reviewed it. And there was really just one thing in there that I said to him we had to change. He wrote, my short and long-term plan is to do anything I can to manage the pain and heartache I have brought to my family. Well, that makes sense. I mean, that is a great, plan. I am fully aware of the consequences. I'm doing the hand thing again. I'm going to scale back on the hands. Hold on a second. I got to make a note here. I'm fully aware of the consequences that accompany a white-collar crime conviction. And while I didn't go to, when I went to prison at 33, I wasn't married and I didn't have children, it was much easier for me. There was still significant heartache. I know it. I get it. The court knows it too. But the reason we had to remove this line and a couple others throughout the narrative was because there was a little bit too much focus on him, how his life was imploding, how this was impacting his family, how he's got a young child who, if he goes to prison, is going to be away from his father. So it's all true. But this narrative, we're really writing for an audience of 3, a probation officer. Yes, this narrative should be in your probation report. That comes directly from judges, irrespective of what others tell you. You're writing for a probation officer, a prosecutor, and a judge. And eventually this narrative should go to a case manager, counselor in prison, someone in a halfway house, probation officer after you're released. But generally 3 people, and primarily the judge. And it's essential that you aren't doing too much focusing on yourself, that you are identifying the victims. And this channel is White Collar Advice. We primarily work with white collar defendants, and in many cases there's criminal restitution. And regardless of The crime, if it's insider trading and there might not be someone you can identify who is a victim, the government is still going to argue that there are victims. It's the integrity of the markets. It's taxpayer resources that have to investigate your case. And of course, in some cases, like bank fraud, it's the bank. A Ponzi scheme, there's individual investors. If there is restitution and there are victims, that has to be the priority. That goes before everyone else. This isn't about you. This isn't about how your own life is imploding. How do you recognize the victims? How do you acknowledge a plan moving forward that's realistic, that's measurable? What are you doing as you prepare to go to prison to build a business that could create income to pay back the victims? What are your plans while on the inside? Yes, that has to do with you, but it's very nuanced. It has to do with you because you're selling an argument to a judge about how you are going to become better. So this narrative that our client who invested in this program wrote was excellent, and the huge value after he wrote it, it's, I guess, about 6 pages and 3,000 words. Maybe I want to shorten it a bit. The value in having me come in afterwards was saying, everything is great, do this, that. We have got to soften and change this a little bit. Now, what you can do, and I shared this with him, I'm a huge proponent, and many of you watching this know, the process is often the real punishment. So when I caught my case in December of 2005 and eventually surrendered to prison in April of 2008, the real punishment was the process for 3.5 years of wondering and waiting what the hell was going to happen, living in that land of the unknown. That was awful. So what you can do is you can mention the pain that you're in. You can mention the consequences that you are enduring as a result of your reckless and criminal conduct. You can mention that regardless of how long you serve in prison, in many ways this is a life sentence. You are in prison every single day because of the pain and shame you feel for creating victims. Do you get it? You can sell that, you can talk about it, be authentic, be truthful. But the priority is on the victims here. They have always got to go first. Lastly, this did not happen in this letter, but occasionally in some letters that I see. And again, if you think you can write this letter without us helping you or investing in our program, great. I just know you need to do it. If others say that they can help you do it, great. Read 100 of them that they've written. Ask if judges have commented on them. Get direct feedback. Speak to their clients who will be able to tell you, yeah, dude, this helped me. This helped me. So I want to be very clear about that. If we can help you, great. If not, you just have to do it. And I'm offering some advice on what you can and cannot do. Let me touch on, very animated this morning. This is very important to me. This is my life. It's what I do. Why go to prison for any longer than is necessary? Why spend hours writing a phenomenal narrative and have one sentence or one line derail hours of progress? But that's all it takes. I can't have judge fixating on one thing that you say, ignoring the rest of your message. And that comes down to this last point on the subject. Don't try to guilt judges into not sending you to jail. It doesn't work. So I can tell you that when I came home from prison, I had a lot of time on my hands. I was on probation. I was beginning to speak on ethics and white-collar crime. I was beginning to consult, but I wasn't as busy as I am now. I just got out of jail. Right? So I had time and I wanted to learn. I wanted to study. So I attended some sentencings in downtown Los Angeles. So while some people go to movies, I attended sentencings in the same building that I was sentenced in. And it was very educational. After all, I'd only been to my sentencing. I'd interview scores of men in prison to hear about their sentencing, but I wanted to see it firsthand. I wanted to hear statements that defendants made. I wanted to see how well lawyers would articulate and, defend their clients. And so I attended these sentencings, and I just sat in the back like a fly on the wall. And I'll never forget a defendant basically telling a judge, if you send me to prison, I'm going to be away from my infant son. It's true. I mean, who the hell wants to be away from their infant son? And the judge said, well, wait a second. Are you trying to guilt me into not sending you to prison? Is that what you're trying to do? You're trying to make me feel bad? That you created victims and stole millions of dollars from people, and I shouldn't send you to prison now because of that? Does that seem like... Judge was angry, and it derailed what was otherwise a very good statement. I didn't read his letter. But I've seen this theme throughout. So what can you do? You can tell the truth. If my infant son or soon-to-be son were as important to me as I thought, if my family and community and reputation were as important to me as I thought, I would not have broken the law. It is my fault. I own it. Here is my plan moving forward. Don't guilt the judge, please. I'm going to close with one thought as we quickly transition. I like Instagram, I'm doing a little bit more work here. And I put something up on my 10-year anniversary of going to prison. I wrote, 10 years ago I surrendered to prison, focused on those who forgot about me when I needed them. My mistake was not feeling gratitude for those who stuck by me no matter what. Find time as I finally did to thank those who support you through the hard times. I'm filming a separate video on this, but I want to stress to all of you, you will lose some friends through this. The fallout can be significant as you endure this case. Friends disappointed me. They let me down, and I fixated on it. It cost me too much, and I regretted it. Why? Because I wasn't thanking, or I wasn't appreciative enough of the people who stood by me. Even at times, my best friend Brad Fulmer, who I write and talk about a lot, came to my sentencing, came to my guilty plea, visited me twice a month in jail, held me accountable. I mean, he knew, I think he knew that I was appreciative, but I could have done more. And frankly, there were many others. So I say to you as you go through this process, there are 3 types of people in this world. Some are going to help you through these tough times, some who leave you, and of course some who put you in this situation. Some of you watching know that others put you in this situation. Others may have put others in this situation. I get it. I beg you, focus on those who are helping you. You will feel a sense of gratitude and perspective that will help you. And I didn't feel that gratitude and perspective until I went to prison. And for 3.5 years, I lamented over all that I was losing, over everyone that was leaving me, over the fallout from my conviction. And I wasn't appreciative enough of those who supported me. So that's all I got for today. I wish you all well. If you're going to write that letter, don't guilt the judge. Focus on the victims first, and you'll be in a better position to say what I've said before. Get the shortest sentence in the most favorable institution. I hear my daughter yelling in the background. I'm going to go do some daddy time. I wish you all well. Work hard. Bye-bye.